The two friendly victories over Athletic Bilbao on Monday evening at Anfield gave fans a real opportunity to assess the depth of the Liverpool squad available to Arne Slot heading into the new season. Whilst Virgil van Dijk was sick and unavailable, he is expected to return for the Community Shield match with Crystal Palace on Sunday. There was a surprise, however, when it was announced that Conor Bradley had joined Joe Gomez on the sidelines, with Slot admitting that it could be tight for the pair to return for the match at Wembley. There is no doubt that Liverpool, led by Richard Hughes this summer, are having a fantastic transfer window. But how ready are they really for the season ahead in terms of the depth of their squad, and is there any cause for concern for fans? Let's break it down. Let's start by looking at the goalkeeping department at Liverpool. Alisson Becker was another absentee on Monday after he returned to Brazil for personal reasons during the pre-season tour of Asia. Hopefully everything is all okay for Liverpool's number one and his family, and we get to see him back in action soon. At the start of the summer, as expected, Quevin Kelleher left the club for first team football at Brentford, but he's now been replaced by Georgi Marmadashvili in a deal that was struck with Valencia 12 months ago. The Georgian reminded everyone of his qualities on Monday with some fine saves to give Liverpool a 3-2 victory in the second match against Bilbao. And there is no doubt that Arne Slot now has two top-class keepers to choose from. I still think the likelihood remains, however, that Marmadashvili will need to bide his time, with Alisson still recognised as one of, if not, the world's best keepers. Freddie Woodman was also brought to the club earlier in the summer from Preston. He offers a homegrown option and is likely to take up the number 3 spot, with Vitislav Jaros now on loan at Ajax. Youngster Armin Pesky was also another new addition earlier in the transfer window, and he looked a real prospect again on Monday, making a couple of fine saves in the second half of the first match against Bilbao. I suspect he is likely to take up a regular place in the under-21s as he continues his development. All in all, I would say Liverpool appear to once again be in a very strong position in terms of their goalkeeping department. There are two world-class operators, I would say, on the books vying for the number 1 spot, meaning this is not really an area for Slot, his management team and fans to worry about. As we look to the defence, I do start to have some concerns. Trent Alexander-Arnold departed for his much publicised move to Real Madrid, and Jarell Quansah was sold to Bayer Leverkusen straight after helping England's under-21s to victory at the Euros. Whilst 2 have therefore gone out, 2 have also come in the form of Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez. Let's start by looking at right-back area, where it had been expected that Conor Bradley would probably win the race to start the season. His injury, however, prior to the games against Athletic Bilbao on Monday, may now have handed the initiative to Dutch international Frimpong, who's also impressed during pre-season. Whilst it looks like we have those two competing for the right-back spot, it's also possible that Frimpong may need to cover Mohamed Salah on the right wing when he departs for the African Nations Cup. Whilst it seemed unlikely that another right-back will be signed, therefore, if needs must, around the period when Salah is away at AFCON, we may be forced to use someone like Curtis Jones or Dominic Szoboszlai, who's played there in pre-season, in an emergency on the right side of defence. Not ideal, but probably something we can manage. Moving across to the left, and we have no such issues. Whilst Kerkez is likely to become a regular starter, Andy Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas both remain at the club to deputise. As to whether we will see one of those depart before the end of the transfer window remains to be seen, but it does seem that we will have 2 players for that one position, at least. It's in the centre that I have real concerns in terms of the depth available to Slot. With Quansah having moved on and Gomez injured, an injury to Virgil van Dijk or Ibrahima Konate would see Wataru Endo or Ryan Gravenberch pressed into action. Endo has played a number of games at centre-back and is perfectly capable, but if I was Slot, I would be desperate to see at least one new central defender come through the door before the window closes. Links are persisting to Mark Gay, but there appears to be a problem with the value that Crystal Palace have placed on the England international, who has just 1 year left on his contract. The Reds have also been linked with Parma youngster Giovanni Leone, who would offer a younger option, but also is a player of much promise. At the start of the 2020-21 season, after they sold Dejan Lovren, Liverpool left themselves short at centre-back and were made to pay for that decision. They cannot let that happen again, and if I was Arne Slot, this would be the position giving me the most sleepless nights at the moment. Now it's time to take a look at the midfield. 2 seasons ago, Liverpool seemed to be in dire straits in terms of their midfield options, but the summer of 2023 has changed everything and saw the engine room revitalised. Along came Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Wataru Endo and Ryan Gravenberch. Those 4, alongside Curtis Jones, are all expected to stay and play a major part as Liverpool try and defend their Premier League title. Added to those 5, there was a major shock earlier in the summer when Liverpool beat Bayern Munich and other suitors to the signing of Florian Wirtz, a player already at just 22 years of age who's already ranked as one of the world's best. Whilst Tyler Moulton has just completed his £15 million move to Lyon, Arne Slot starts the season with those 6 fantastic options in the middle of the park. And the thing to consider is that's before you think about the likes of Harvey Elliott, Trey Nioni, Stefan Bajcetic and James McConnell. For Elliott, it was a disappointing season last year. Yes, Liverpool won the title, but he was really starved of game time. And I think it probably does seem likely that the 22-year-old could be on the move, with RB Leipzig reportedly very interested in him. Nioni, however, has impressed during pre-season, and his maturity could see him win a more regular spot in the senior squad and maybe becoming number 7 of the midfielders available to Slot. Whilst McConnell is rumoured to be heading out on loan, the future for Bajcetic remains unclear as he continues to fight his way back from a hamstring operation. After he impressed on loan at Las Palmas last season, he will be desperately disappointed that he hasn't been able to stake a claim during the current pre-season. So it's possible, if he can get back to fitness in the next few weeks, he could head out on loan again before the window closes. The midfield, and in particular the much publicised hunt for a number 6, used to haunt Liverpool fans during transfer seasons gone by. But now I think it's an area where everybody can relax. There's fantastic amount of depth, fantastic amount of quality, and no real cause for concern. Finally, we look at the forward options available to Liverpool and Arne Slot ahead of the new campaign. Hugo Ekitike has been bought in from Frankfurt for big money. The early signs are positive, and it looks like he's going to link up very well with the likes of Mohamed Salah and Cody Gakpo. There was a blow, however, when Luis Diaz made his move to Bayern Munich. Lucho was a key player in last season's success, but at 28 and with just 2 years left on his contract, it was probably the correct decision for all parties that the transfer went ahead. So with Diaz already gone, and huge speculation that Darwin Núñez and Federico Chiesa will follow shortly, where does that leave Liverpool, and does it leave Arne Slot short up front? So, we've already touched on 3 guaranteed options that will be available to the Liverpool head coach in Salah, Gakpo and Ekitike. Rio Ngamoa has been sensational in pre-season, and like Trey Nioni, has probably done enough to force himself into the reckoning at just 16 years of age. What a prospect he is. That would appear to leave another 1, possibly maximum 2 places available to be filled. Ben Doak was very lively on Monday against Bilbao, but he's been strongly linked with a move away. Ipswich and Crystal Palace were in for him in January, as per reports. And it's reported that Liverpool are looking for a transfer fee of in excess of 20 million for Doak. So if someone comes up with the money, I suspect he will go. If not, it may be another loan for the talented Scotsman. Jayden Danns has now fully recovered after his injury, and he's likely to head out on loan. He was due to go on loan to Sunderland last year, but I think it was a back injury that prevented that. So he needs to get game time under his belt, despite his obvious talent. Lewis Kumas has today been linked with a loan move to Wrexham in the Championship. And Will Wright, who came on Monday and only signed from Salford City last season, will probably ply his trade in the under-21s for the immediate future. So I think it seems that Richard Hughes' business in terms of forward options for the club may not be complete. And the one name that continues to be linked with a move to the club is Newcastle striker Alexander Isak. So could that possibly happen in the next few weeks and before the window closes? Well, I think it can, but there are a number of factors that will need to fall into place for that to happen. And it seems Newcastle finding a striker, and they're currently battling Manchester United for Benjamin Sesko, will be key to freeing up Isak to make the move to Anfield. So I don't know how I feel in terms of the forwards, because there's still a lot of chopping and changing that can happen. I'm not particularly concerned about the squad depth as it stands, but what I would say is if Chiesa and Núñez do depart, I think we do need to make a move in the transfer market, whether that's for Isak or someone else. I think it's vital, and then that will supplement nicely the established stars like Salah, Gakpo, etc., and the upcoming prospects that we've got, like Engamoa. So there you have my thoughts on where we are with Liverpool's current squad depth. Whilst it's been a brilliant window so far, with top-class talent being added to the squad, plugging the gaps in the centre of defence and reacting in the transfer window to bring in a top-quality forward should Núñez and Chiesa move on is a non-negotiable for me if we want to challenge on all fronts next season. I certainly believe that will happen. I don't believe those at the club will have started the window so well and then not finished the job, and I have full faith in those to do so. And I really think it's going to be probably the best and most memorable transfer window in the history for the club.